Hello my dear students, in hydrogen atom how many electrons are present? The lower value of N will have lower energy. The nucleus is not able to attract the electrons which is there in the outermost shell. You also learnt it in school. Yet again I have explained it. If I write it this way, it is wrong. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the last session on the chapter structure of atom. Last class we had learnt about quantum numbers, orbitals and about the nodes, correct? So this class will be learning about, first we have the energies of orbitals. Okay, what is this? The energy of electrons in hydrogen atom is determined only by the principal quantum number. Okay, it is only the principal quantum number is which is telling us about the energy of the orbital or energy of the electron. So the energy of the orbital increases like this. 1s is having the least energy. As the principal quantum number goes on increasing, the energy of the orbital also goes on increasing. So we have 1s, then we have 2s. 2s is equal to 2p I have written. I will tell you what it is. Then we have 3s orbital, 3s, 3p, 3d, all of same energy. Then we have 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f and it will go on. Okay. Now the orbitals having same energy are called as degenerate. So in hydrogen atom, the s shell has got two orbitals, both are degenerate. That means they have same energy level. Okay, electron in 2s also has the same energy level, electron in 2p also has the same energy level. Similarly, the third shell has got three orbitals, that is 3s, 3p and 3d set of subshells it is present, and all of them have again same energy or they are degenerate. Here see, shape of 2s and 2p orbitals are different, but still the electrons which are present in them have same energy, or these two orbitals also have same energy. All of this is for hydrogen atom. In hydrogen atom how many electrons are present? Only one electron is present, correct? So in hydrogen atom, if you see, this is the nucleus which has got one proton and the first shell has got one electron. That's all. Rest all the shells are empty. Okay, only in the first shell it has got one electron, or the two or one s orbital has got one electron. So in hydrogen atom, the type of interaction is only attraction, correct? There is only the attractive force between the electron and the proton. Only the force of attraction is there. So there is only one type of interactive force, that is the attraction between the protons and electrons. But when it comes to multi-electronic atom, that means if it contains more than one electron, many electrons are present in an atom, there two types of numbers are responsible to determine the energy of the orbital, that is principal quantum number and azimuthal quantum number, that is N and L. So in multi-electronic atom we have to see the principal quantum number and the azimuthal quantum number. Both are considered, or both will determine the energy of the orbital. Okay, the stability of the atom depends on the type of interaction in an atom. Now in multimolecular atom, there is a nucleus and you have, for example, 2 or 3 shells like this, or 2 orbitals which we have, and here there are 2 electrons, here there are 6 electrons for example, and there can be many electrons which is present depending on which is the atom. Okay, now in such atoms what happens is there is an attractive force between the electron and proton. Okay, that is the attractive force. Also, there is a repulsive force, correct? No, there is a repulsive force between the electron themselves because they are of like charges. So there are two types of interaction which will happen, okay, and if the total attractive interaction is more than the repulsive interaction, then the atom is stable. What is it? If the total attractive interaction is more than the repulsive interaction, then the atom is stable. Okay, so more about the energy of the orbital in multimolecular atom, how to determine. We have a rule for that called as N plus L rule. Okay, so what is N plus L rule? This rule helps in comparing the relative energies of the two orbitals. You can relate the two orbitals and tell which has more energy or which has got less energy. Okay, according to this, the lower value of N plus L for an orbital, the lower the energy. If N plus value is lesser, that means the energy for that orbital is lesser. If two orbitals have same value of N plus L, then the lower value of N will have lower energy. To understand this better, we will see the examples. Now for example, 1s orbital, the value of N is 1, S is, S if it is, so L value is 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Next we have 2s orbital, N value is 2, S that's why it's 0, 2 plus 0 is 0. Next we have 2p, N is 2 and P, that's why L is 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Among these three, which has got the highest energy? Of course, 2p has got the highest energy. Next, below that we have 2s orbital. Below that we have 1s orbital. So we have 1s, 2s and 2p for this example. We will next take 3s and 3p orbital. Okay. For 3s and 3p, N value is 3 for both. L value S, so it is 0, and it is P, L value is 1. When you add up, you see here 3 plus 0 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. So which has more energy? 3p has greater energy than 3s. Correct? Now, next one more example we will take of 4s and 3d. Now 4s, N value is 4, L is 0. For 3d, N value is 3 and because it is d, L value is 2. When I add up, you see 4 plus 0 is 4, 3 plus 2 is 5. So now which has got the higher energy? 3d has got higher energy than 4s. Don't come to the conclusion that when N value is more, the energy is more. No, not exactly. You can see here 3d has got more energy than 4s. Correct? Here we have 4p also. In the here you see 4 is the N value, P that is why L is 1 value, 4 plus 1 is 5. Now 3D and 4P if I take into consideration, 3D and 4P, which has got higher energy? Both N plus L value is same, 5 and 5. Now you have to look into the N values. When N plus L value is same, then look into the N value. If N value is lower, that orbital has got lower energy. If N value is higher, that orbital has got higher energy. Now comparing 3D and 4P, 3D has got 3 lower value, whereas 4P has got 4 N value which is higher. But N plus value is same. So which has got lower energy? 3D has got lower energy than 4P. So I hope you understood. When the values are same, then you have to look into the N values. Now if you consider 4P and 4S, okay, in 4S also the value is 4, 3P also the value is 4, but which has got higher energy or which has got lower energy here? Now look into this number 3 and 4. Lower energy is for 3P, so 3P has got lower energy compared to 4S. So I hope you have understood how to apply N plus L rule to find out the energy of the orbitals. Okay. Next we have shielding effect and effective nuclear charge. What do you mean by effective nuclear charge? In an atom, the electrons are attracted by the nucleus. Greater the number of protons in the nucleus, greater will be the attraction of the electron towards the nucleus. So, the net positive charge experienced by an electron is called as effective nuclear charge. If I have to explain to you all in simple words, in the nucleus we have protons. Around them surrounding we have the electrons in orbitals. Correct? We have electrons around the nucleus in the orbitals. I am still showing you all in the circular path because 3-dimensional I cannot show here. That's the reason I am writing like this. Okay, if the electrons are present in these shells or in these orbitals, these electrons will experience the force of attraction towards the nucleus. Correct? These electrons will experience the force of attraction towards the nucleus, and that force of attraction will increase as the number of protons are increasing. And that's called as effective nuclear charge, or it is the net positive charge experienced by the electrons towards the nucleus is called as effective nuclear charge. How? If the effective nuclear charge is higher, if I tell, that means the electrons are tightly bound towards the nucleus, or it is tightly attracted, more attracted towards the nucleus, then we call it as effective nuclear charge is higher. Okay, so I hope you have understood that. Next is shielding effect. Shielding means what? Something is covering. Okay, so what is the shielding effect? The nuclear force of attraction on the outer electrons of the atom is lowered by electrons present in the inner orbital or inner shell. It is called as shielding effect or screening effect. That is, see, this is the nucleus and I will consider these are the other orbitals which are present. So I have 2 or 3 electrons in the outermost orbital, and the innermost has got some 10 electrons, for example. There are many electrons in the innermost one orbital, or this is shell, this is penultimate shell, this is ultimate, this is penultimate, or this is valence shell, this is penultimate shell, just one shell before the outermost shell. Now what happens is, the protons, because of the inner electrons, will not be able to attract the outermost electrons. These inner electrons are shielding or covering or shielding the electrons which is present outside. This effect is called as shielding effect. The outermost electrons will experience a little less effective nuclear charge or little less attraction towards the nucleus because of the electrons which is covering them or shielding them, which is present inside or in the inner orbital. This is called as screening effect or shielding effect. It is just like you imagine in your class, the most shortest ones are sitting in the last row. Okay, and just before that row we have all tall students who are sitting. So the teacher is considered as the nucleus, then the ones who are tall are actually covering the ones who are short, who are sitting in the end. Okay, they are hiding there, or you know, I cannot see them properly, or I cannot pay attention to them very clearly, because the ones who are tall are covering the ones who are short just behind them. Okay, so this is shielding effect. So the nucleus is not able to attract the electrons which is there in the outermost shell because of the electrons which are present just before that. Okay, the electrons are shielding the electrons behind them, then we call that as shielding effect. I hope you have understood. Next, electronic configuration. You have learnt in school how to write the electronic configuration, but yet again I shall explain. To make it very easy, you can remember how to put this diagram. Okay, here you can see we just write 1s because first shell has got only one orbital, second shell has got two subshells or two types of orbitals, third shell has got 3, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh we write this way. So we start from 1. So first I have 1s orbital, then comes 2s, then we have 2p, after that we have 3s, correct? After 3s we have 3p and 4s. After 4s I have 3d and then I have 4p and 5s and so on. So this is also representing the increasing order of energies for the orbitals. So 2s has more energy than 1s, 2p has more energy. So this is the increasing order of their energy also for the orbitals, and when we are writing or when we are filling up the electrons, it has to be filled up in their increasing order of energies. Okay, this is also called as Aufbau principle. I'll come later to that. So how do I write the electronic configuration? First thing what you need to remember is every orbital can take maximum of 2 electrons. So in s orbital there can be only 2 electrons. P subshell has 3 orbitals, correct? Px, Py, Pz. So in Px there are 2 electrons, Py 2 electrons, Pz 2 electrons. So total P subshell can have how many electrons? It can have 6 electrons. Similarly, D has got 5 orbitals, each orbital 2 electrons, 5 2s are 10. So 10 electrons can be present in D subshell, correct? So keeping this in mind, we shall fill up or we shall write the electronic configuration. For example, I'll take carbon. Carbon has got the atomic number 6, correct? They have got the atomic number 6. That means it has got 6 electrons, correct? So 6 electrons, how do I write? I write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2 because s orbital can take only 2 electrons. Out of 6, 2 plus 2, 4 I have written. So 2 more are remaining, which will go to 2p. So it is 2p2. So this is the electronic configuration of carbon. Similarly, we will write the electronic configuration of sodium. Atomic number of sodium is 11. Okay, so it has got 11 electrons, which we will fill up again. First I have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still 1 is there. So which will go to 3s1 because there is only 1 electron left. Correct? One more we will write, that is for calcium, which is 20. Okay, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, correct? 2p6, it becomes 10. Then I have 3s2, 3p6, then we have 4s2. Do you all agree? Yes? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 plus 2, 14, 14 plus 6, 20. So this is the electronic configuration for calcium. Similarly, try to write the electronic configuration for some of the elements which are simple within 30. We need to know the atomic numbers of first 30 elements. Which element, what is the atomic number, you need to know it by heart, and also you need to know to write the electronic configuration. So I hope you have understood this. You have also learnt it in school. Yet again I have explained it. Next we have the orbital diagram. This is the second type of notation to write the electronic configuration. The first notation which we already learned, S orbital, how many electrons are there? We just write about it. Then P orbital, above it we write this is A, this is B, this is C. So these A, B, C are the number of electrons which is present. So this is one way of writing the electronic configuration. The other way is to write in the orbital boxes. This is called as a box diagram also. Okay, so here each orbital of a subshell is represented by a box and the electron is represented with the arrow. 2 electrons in every orbital. One arrow will tell us it's 1 electron. 2 arrows with opposite spin have to show. Okay, that time it is the other electron. Okay, one has got plus half, one has got minus half value. So for S we write one box because only one orbital is possible. For P we write 3 because 3 orbitals are possible, Px, Py, Pz. For D we write 5, for F we write 7. Okay. So lithium atomic number is 3. So 1s orbital I have 2 electrons, 2s orbital I have 1 electron. Beryllium atomic number is 4. So 1s2, 2s2. Boron atomic number is 5. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. Okay. Then carbon 1s2, 2s2, 2p2 atomic number 6. Nitrogen 1s2, 2s2, 2p3 1, 2, 3. Oxygen atomic number 8 1s2, 2s2, 2p 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is 2p4. So this is how you can represent in the orbital diagram also. Okay. Now why have I filled up here singly and then it will start pairing up? All of this I'll explain with the rules. Okay. Filling up of orbitals in an atom. Okay. We have some rules for that. First one is Aufbau principle. In the ground state of an atom, the orbitals are filled in the order of increasing energy. I already told you all, already explained to you all while writing the electronic configuration. We fill up the electrons in the increasing energy of their orbitals. That is 1s is filled, then 2s, then comes 2p, then we have 3s, then we have 3p, then we have 4s, then we have 3d, okay, then we have 4p and so on. Okay, so the electrons have to be filled in these orbitals in their increasing order of energies. Okay, that's Aufbau principle. Next is Pauli's exclusion principle. No 2 electrons in an atom can have same set of quantum numbers. What is it? No 2 electrons. In an atom there can be many electrons. No 2 electrons can have all the 4 quantum numbers same. That is Pauli's exclusion principle. I shall explain to you all with an example. For example, I will take carbon. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2 and 2p2. Now I shall take an electron from 2p orbital, 1 electron from 2s. So I have 2s 1 electron and 2p 1 electron. So now here for 2s orbital, what is n value? N is 2, L is 0, M is 0 and the electron can have, that is s value can be plus half or minus half, correct? Now in 2p, n is equal to 2, L is equal to 1, M is equal to minus 1, 0, plus 1 and S can be equal to plus half or minus half. So the electron what I have taken, okay, from here I told 1 electron, okay, I'll consider 2, 0, 0 plus half I'll consider. From 2p 1 electron, so 2, 1 minus 1 I'll take and plus half I'll take. If you see here, even if the n values are same, the L values are differing. Even if I consider m value to be same, then s value will differ. Okay. So no 2 electrons in an atom can have same set of quantum numbers. Even if I take the 2 electrons in 2s orbital only, okay, they will have n is equal to 2, L is equal to 0, M is equal to 0. All these three values will be same, but S value will differ, in which one electron will have plus half, the other electron will have minus half. So none of the electrons in an atom can have same set of 4 quantum numbers. That is given by Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. Next we have Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Pairing of electron in the orbital belonging to the same subshell does not take place until the orbital belonging to that subshell has got one electron each, that is singly occupied. What is the meaning of this? For example, I'll take boron. In boron, I have 1s2 and 2s2 electrons. In 2p, only one electron is there. Okay. Next we have atomic number 6, that is carbon. In carbon, you have 2 electrons in p orbital. But in p subshell, we have 3 orbitals, no? Px, Py, Pz. So first Px will fill, then Py1 will fill. Okay. The third electron when it comes, for example, in nitrogen we have 7, we have 3 electrons, 3 are also singly occupied. After all the 3 are singly occupied, then when the 4th electron comes, it will start pairing up. I cannot write for carbon, I can't write this electron over here. If I write it this way, it is wrong. The electrons in the p orbital, which is degenerate, they all have same energy level. So first each one will get one electron and then it will start pairing up. That is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Here you can see in fluorine, okay, fluorine atomic number 9, you can see here, first I fill 1, 2, 3. All the 3 are occupied, we have 2 more extra, then I put the 4th one, then I put the 5th one. Okay. So it should be singly occupied, then only the pairing up will start when the orbitals have the same energy. So that is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Okay. Stability of completely filled and half filled subshell. Now what is the meaning of this? When we write the electronic configuration, I told you first the lower energy level has to be filled up, and then only we go to the higher energy level, or it has to be filled up in the increasing order of their energies. But in some cases, there are some exceptions in which the lower energy is not yet completely filled, but the higher energy level gets half filled orbitals, or it gets completely filled orbitals. That is because if they have half filled or completely filled orbitals, those atoms or those elements will become extra stable. They get extra stability. 2 exceptions what you have is chromium and copper. See, chromium has got the atomic number 24. What is it? Atomic number is 24. So expected configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 3d4, 4s2. Correct? That is 4s2 has got the lower energy, so it has to be filled up, then only the 3d can be filled up. So you count and see 10, 12, 18, 19, 20, 24. But the original electronic configuration is not this. This is wrong. That is because here you can see D has got 4 electrons. Correct? D has got 4 electrons. So I'll just write here the D orbital has got 5, D subshell has got 5 orbitals. Each one has got 1 electron. 3D 4 and 2 is complete. Now if this D orbital gets one more electron, this one more electron comes in, it becomes half filled now. D orbital is half filled. If it is half filled, they get extra stability. That is the reason one electron from 4s will jump to 3d, and 3d 5 we get and 4s 1 we get. So there is an electron exchange which is happening. Okay. That is about electronic configuration of chromium. Okay. Similarly, in copper also, atomic number of copper is 29. See, expected electronic configuration is 3d9 4s2. See, 3d9 means d subshell 5 orbitals 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So one more electron, if it comes here, it becomes completely filled, full, no, d orbital is full, 10, all 10 electrons are there. So it will take up one electron from 4s and it becomes 3d10 4s1. Electron exchange will happen and it will get the extra stability. Okay, so half filled or completely filled orbitals give an extra stability for that atom. Hence, it is possible in this way. Why it gets extra stability? It is because these orbitals become symmetrical and they have something called as exchange energy. More about exchange energy you will be learning in your higher classes. Okay, they all are same, they are symmetrical, they look same, no, when it is half filled or when it is completely filled. Because of that symmetry and because of exchange energy, they get extra stability. Okay, so that is about the stability of the half filled or completely filled subshells in some of the atoms. Okay, I hope you have understood the chapter structure of atom. Wherever necessary, pause the video, try to solve the numericals on your own. Also, learn all the postulates of different theories and also different atomic models. Next session, I am going to start with a new chapter, some basic concepts of chemistry. It's again a very easy chapter. So see you next class. Thank you, my dear students. Stay tuned, stay focused.